Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? I am super excited for this video because we're going to be doing another ranking palettes video. I know you guys really seem to like this, so I want to incorporate them more because they're fun, they're suspenseful. Well, maybe not that suspenseful, but I do put them in alphabetical order in the description box because that's my version of being an evil genius. Anyways, I don't know how I got distracted so quickly, but we're talking about Natasha Denona's eyeshadow palettes today, and I'm excited because her palettes are definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. I have a lot of thoughts about them, so let's go ahead and jump on in. But first, I should say, I know I don't need to justify anything to anyone technically, but I did buy every single palette that I'm mentioning on sale. I've never paid full price for a Natasha Denona palette. I'll probably mention like how good of a deal I got as I go through, but yes, I always wait for sales. Alright, so I have 11 palettes to rank today, and the one coming in last place, you might already know this because I ranked it pretty low in my ranking all the palettes I bought in 2020 video, but it's slightly a regret. This is the Natasha Denona Lila palette, and I don't know why I had like this small period of obsession with this palette. I literally haven't even taken the mirror thing off the inside. Why am I like this? So here's what it looks like. It went on sale a few months ago, and I don't know, for some reason I just got it in my mind that this was a palette that I needed in my life, and I watched a bunch of reviews. I thought the looks were so pretty, and I do think that this is a nice palette. Like, I still think it has really good quality shadows. I just feel like it's not exactly my perfect palette, and whenever you spend so much money on a palette, you want to absolutely love it. So the fact that I feel less than love is definitely something that makes it a regret for me. I really like the matte shades in here. I feel like they blend well. There's a lot of satiny shades, which I think have a lot of purposes, and I don't mind that formula at all, but I just feel like this palette in general is like a very wearable, work appropriate, mature, pop of purple kind of palette. And I appreciate the color story for being that, but that's not exactly my style of makeup. So I don't know, I just don't love it as much as I thought I was going to. And even the shades that are really cool, the shades that are more duochrome-y, I have shades from indie brands that I like more. So yes, I like it, but it's not a favorite, and it is my least favorite Natasha Denona palette. So next, coming in 10th place, is a palette that I actually don't have on location with me right now. So I'm going to leave a little picture on screen. This is the, I think it's the Blue Purple palette. It's one of the giant 28 pans, $239 palettes from Natasha Denona, and sorry, I just can't help. It's such a crazy price. I can't even process it, but here's what it looks like. And I do really like this palette. I actually was so fortunate enough to get it in a Beautylish Lucky Bag, so I didn't pay anywhere near the retail price for this. And I feel like I do really like it. It was my first touch of Natasha Denona. It's what got me excited and addicted to her shadows. Pretty sure there's a video of me unboxing it and literally screaming when I opened the palette and saw it because I was so excited to finally try Natasha Denona. And it definitely has like a little bit of a sentimental feel to it, but at the same time, even though I love it, I love the quality, I think it's a really beautiful palette. The reason it is ranked so low at number 10 is because the price is just ridiculous. I wouldn't recommend this palette to anyone. The fact that I already own it and enjoy it, I'm like, yes, I like it. It's a great palette, but I just wouldn't recommend someone to go spend $200+ on it. If you got a great sale, then I could see getting it, but I just I can't. That's why it's ranked so low, is just because it's so expensive. I refuse to rank it higher even though it's a good palette. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I always spend so much time justifying where I'm ranking things, but that was what my thought process was for this one. I honestly think the other $239 palette, the green brown one I think is what it's called, is so beautiful as well. But again, I just would not go out and buy that myself. It's just too much. All right, so coming into 9th place is the Natasha Denona Love Palette. I didn't get that great of a sale on this one. I think I only got like 15% off, but it was right after it released. So it was a little bit of a lucky moment because I was thinking of buying it anyways, and I was going back and forth on it. And when I got this coupon, I was like, yes. Like, yes, I can justify it now. So this is a very pretty color story. I will give it that. It has like pinks and purples and a little bit of neutral. But the thing with this palette is I feel like every look that I've done, I've always kind of just ended up like, oh, like it's pretty, like it's okay. And again, I want to be in love with the palette. That's so dramatic if you think about it, being in love with a material object, but I want to genuinely enjoy its performance and the looks that come from it. And although I like this, it just is not one of my favorite Natasha Denona palettes. I felt like this purple here was really, really hard to work with. No, I just would have done this palette a little bit differently. There are some shades in here I really, really enjoy. Like this shade Trust is beautiful. The shade Valentine, Intense, Soul, Heartbeat. Pure Love is pretty. Giving, I wish, was a little bit more pigmented. It's more sheer. I think I would have liked it if it was more of an opaque color. And Blind is a really, really pretty foiled silver shade. I'm not a silver kind of girl, but that one's actually really, really nice. So overall, I think it's not a terrible palette, but it's just not one that I reach for a lot. And honestly, I wonder if it's just because of when I was trying this, it just wasn't like my makeup vibes, because I definitely go through phases where certain colors, certain undertones, certain types of looks really appeal to me. So I definitely feel like I should revisit this. But as of right now, it is definitely ranked number 9. No! No! Oh my gosh. No. I've had this Natasha Denona palette for years and 2 shades just fell out. Luckily, I caught it. Wow. Look at that. Holding an eyeshadow just by the shadow. Okay. That's intense. I can't believe it did that. Wow. I know there were so many complaints about this palette and the shimmers doing that when it first came out, but I've literally never had an issue, and I've had it for years. What the heck? Well, those shadows look brand new now because it got turned around. Okay, so coming in at 8th place is the Natasha Denona Holiday Palette. This was the Aeries Palette. So this was one of the holiday palettes from maybe 2018. Maybe 2017, I don't remember. It was limited edition and I love the packaging. I thought the 2 limited edition palettes that came out that year were so stunning. So here's what it looks like. I'm kind of nervous to like move it around. I do like this one. It has a really pretty blue, and then it has one matte shade, which I feel like is an overall like decent matte. Like you can do a lot with that. But I feel like the looks that I got from this were not, like, they're pretty, they really are pretty, but it's not exactly like my perfect color story. And unless I was wanting to use the blue, I felt like I had to go pretty neutral with this palette, which made it not my absolute favorite. I think I got it like half off or something, so I was really, really excited about it. And then coming into 7th place is going to be the Joya palette, the other one from the holiday collection. And I'm going to be careful with this as well, because dang, you never know when a palette's just going to break on you. I did like this one more than Aeries just because I really enjoy the tones of this. There's 2 different matte kind of burgundy shades, one a little bit lighter, one a little bit deeper. This gold is one of the prettiest yellow golds. I absolutely love it. It is just stunning. And then this shade right here is the prettiest peachy, pinky, just, oh, I love it. And then there's a bronze shade, which I could care less about, but I really, really liked these 4 shades. I felt like this color story overall was more me. I'm pretty sure Sephora, years ago when I still made Sephora Rouge, they'd have like the 25 off 50 or something like that coupon code. So I remember getting this because of that. All right, so coming into 6th place is the Sunrise palette, and I did receive this as a gift from a subscriber. Thank you again, Crystal. She sent this and another palette that I will be mentioning momentarily. So I was and still am super, super grateful. This is what it looks like, and it is a very pretty palette. It is like the perfect, what is it, sunrise? I always want to say sunset. It's the perfect sunrise palette. It has those really pretty, like warm, yellow, orange, burgundy, pinky shades. It has a bunch of like light neutral lid options, and then it has this really pretty purple. And overall, I just really like this color story. I don't feel like it's anything revolutionary, but I do think that it was done well. and I have used this palette quite a lot and really enjoyed it. I think I've only done one look on my channel with this, but I've used it quite a lot off camera, and especially I really love going in with Morgan or Morning all in the crease, and then I'll take one of these 4 shades here on the lid, and it's like the quickest soft neutral look. Really enjoy that. And last year I went on a tiny little vacation to go to my best friend's wedding, and this was the palette that I brought with and used every day, so I do really like it. And I think I'm thinking, why did I rank it number 6? I think it's really nice, but maybe it's just because it's not as inspiring. It's just kind of in the middle of the road for me. So coming into 5th place is going to be the Mini Lila palette. I really like this. I got it for $12, and I feel like every time I see it, I'm like, it was only $12. Like, it's cool that Natasha Denona has expanded to doing the minis, and when they're on sale, you can try Natasha Denona for such a small price compared to some of the other things, because, you know, when she first came out, like, that was the only option, was to spend a ton of money to try her. And I know that some of the minis have been hit and miss from what I've heard, but I actually really like this one. So this matte shade here I feel like is the perfect kind of warm transition shade, and I also like using that one in my brows as well. Whenever I'm needing to use something different than my brow powder, if it's open, then I would just go ahead and use that. There's kind of a nice golden kind of inner corner highlight shade. I feel the need to mention that with every palette. I'm like, this is the inner corner color. And then there's 2 different purple mattes, which I really appreciate, because, you know, it's nice to have pops of color that aren't just shimmers. And then there's also this purple metallic, which honestly is not exactly my perfect purple. I don't even think that I've used that all over the lid yet. I normally just pop that along my lower lash line. It's kind of like a purpley blue shade. It does look really pretty, but I will say it's definitely not as intense texture-wise as some of her more expensive palettes. So overall, I like this color story. I like the size. I think it is the perfect tiny little palette, and I also loved the price of this one, which is why it's ranked number 5. Okay, so coming into 4th place is going to be the Metropolis palette, and I do really enjoy this one. It is such a pretty color story. It's like the perfect fall palette. There's so many warm tones, there's so many grungy greens, there's a little bit of blue, and I just feel like this is such a stunning color story overall. I love that even though it is the price of the 15 pan palettes, you have so many different color options. I'll be honest, I love the variety, but it is a little overwhelming, and I don't even know if I've used every single shade in this palette on my eyes. Every time I use it, I really love how the look turns out, but I will say I feel like I don't use it enough. But I don't think that's anything about the palette. That's just the fact that I have a lot of makeup. But I feel like overall it's really nice. There's so many beautiful textured shadows. This one right here is a really pretty duochrome. So many gold and copper and orangey options. I just think it's so nice overall. I'm going to make a point to use this more. I did do a look with it recently in my Clionadh Deep Iridescent Multichromes review, and I used this palette for my crease shades in case you want to see it in action, but it is really nice. I guess I should explain. It's ranked number 4 because it's such a beautiful color story. I feel like you're getting more bang for your buck because there's a ton of shades. Everything I've used I've really liked, but I don't reach for it as much as I need to, so that's where it is. And then next, ranked number 3, I think you might be surprised by this, but this is the Mini Tropic palette, and this was again a gift from a subscriber, Crystal. Thank you again so much for this little baby palette. It is so cute, and it was not something that I had planned to buy. I'd actually done like a duping the vibes kind of thing with this palette because I felt like I didn't need it, but it is really pretty. And whenever the original Tropic palette came out, I thought the bottom row was so pretty. I even went in store and swatched the bottom row, and I thought it did not swatch great at all. But I will say I definitely feel like the mini is better quality than the bigger one when it comes to these shades. For one, I feel like the packaging is so cute and fun, and again, I love the mini size. I love the color story. I feel like it's interesting, it's unique. I love that she took that really fun, bold part of the Tropic palette and made it separate for those who really love color. I think it's very smart, and I wish more brands would do that kind of thing. Even though it doesn't really have a deeper matte shade, I feel like this blue can definitely be used as a matte, and it does blend really well. I feel like the formula overall in all of these shades is pretty nice. This green, again, is kind of the case of not being as intense, or the blue technically. I mean, it's more of a satin, but I feel like they're not as intense as some of her other more expensive palettes. But this metallic shade is quite creamy and textured, and this is the one that I have on my eyes today. I did film a tutorial with it, but it's not going up on my regular YouTube channel. I have a Patreon, which is like specifically for like exclusive makeup tutorial content, no pressure at all. But that is where this tutorial for this look will be, and it's actually probably going up live the same day as this video if things go according to plan. But yes, I really, really like it. I find it super easy to work with, super fun, and again, a good price. So coming into second place is my newest product from Natasha Denona, and that would be the Camel palette. I got this semi-recently, like a few months ago, on a Beautylish sale, and it was the gift card event. It was like fate, because I knew I could not justify buying this palette, but it was such a good sale I couldn't help myself. So here's what it looks like, and it is a very neutral palette, but it is like my perfect little neutral palette. Like, I know it gets frustrating. I even get frustrated when YouTubers are like, this is my travel palette. Is it good for travel? It's perfect for travel. It's not great for travel. And I'm like, who travels that much? And I felt that way pre-pandemic, even more now. But really, if I'm looking for something that's just super condensed and all together and just a beautiful look, I really, really love this palette. I love the mattes in here. I just feel like they give a perfect gradient, and they do have a really good amount of depth to them. I feel like they look a little bit lighter in the palette, but they just have the... I just love their undertone so much. It's really hard to capture how they look in a picture. There's a copper here, which I do like, but it's nothing like super special to me. I could just like throw it on the lid and call it a day, but it's fine. I'm not a copper kind of person, but I really love this inner corner highlight shade because it just has this level of brightness to it. It's one of the prettiest beige inner corner colors that I have seen yet, and I just like the way it looks. I like using it, and I don't know, I just love this palette as a whole. I think it's really, really great quality. It's a really pretty undertone. It's my kind of like slightly grungy neutrals without being anything crazy. So I feel like it's a really, really nice palette. And then lastly, I mean, if you are not new to my channel, I'm sure this is no surprise at all because I've talked about it so many times as being my favorite neutral palette of all time, and that would be the Natasha Denona Gold palette. If I were to say any of the palettes from her, which one is worth the price, it would definitely be this one. I think I got it 30% off, so again, I wouldn't buy it full price personally, just me. But I absolutely love this palette so much. If you love kind of neutral, murky, matte shades and pops of blue and pops of green and really, really textured foiled shadows, this is so good. Honestly, it's the best thing Natasha Denona has done in my humble opinion. I just feel like every shadow is stunning, and even like the more satiny ones, I still really, really love them. I find a place for them. Some of the matte tones are a little bit similar, but honestly, I don't even care because they're just so good and creamy and buttery, and every single shimmer is just so beautiful. This one is like the prettiest bronze duochrome. Then you have lime chrome, which, I mean, it has a reputation, a good reputation for a reason. And then this shade swatches terribly, but it is so pretty. It adds the most stunning texture on the eyes. There is such a bright gold, which I love as well. And then this one is kind of like a white gold duochrome. I just love this palette so much. And if I could only own one neutral palette of my entire collection, don't even know how many palettes that is, it's a lot, it would be this one. If that is completely out of your budget, I understand because it's a very expensive palette, but Alter Ego has the Goddess palette, which is really nice as well. I did a full very in-depth comparison between the two that I can link right here as well in case you're interested to learn more. I would love to know if you've tried anything from Natasha Denona and how you feel about her products, if you thought they were worth the price. I feel like worth is very relative to every single person. And for me, looking at all of her palettes overall, I would say it's kind of hit and miss. Some I could do without and I would be fine. Some I feel like I have similar color stories, similar shades from other brands that cost less. And then others like the Gold palette, the Camel palette, I feel kind of ride or die about. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.